Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Why Teacher. In Classroom Stories today, I'm going down memory lane to the early 2000s when Dubai schools started off with their inspections. I believe if inspection was a genre in literature, there would be so many stories to tell. So here's my fun story. At that point of time, I was teaching year 3, and when my supervisor told me that the inspector was going to come and attend my English lesson, I was super excited because we had just finished writing our compositions and I had planned a fun remedial exercise for our children to draw conclusions on the common mistakes that they make when they're writing. So as the English lesson started, the inspector walked in. As expected, we had placed a table and a chair at the back of the classroom with the lesson plan there for her to observe. So the observation started. Now the idea was that I was going to draw a scene from under the sea, and I was going to place some objects which are, common to the sea, and in between I would then place a huge butterfly. And the idea, of course, was that the children would shout out and say, hey, the butterfly does not belong under the sea. And then that would help us draw a conclusion that, objects in a setting or vocabulary in a setting need to be relevant. And so I started to draw, the different objects in the sea. So I drew a crab, a seahorse, a shipwreck. I placed a jellyfish, and then right in the center of the sea, I made a big butterfly. Now I could sense that, there was a little bit of shock in the faces of the children, but I started pointing out to all the different things and they started to answer. So when I pointed at the crab, they said it's a crab, seahorse, coral reef, shipwreck. And then I pointed at the butterfly and I said, what's that? And they became quiet. And I saw a big smile on the inspector's face at the back. So I said, okay, let's try again. And I pointed at a few more things. And then I came back to the butterfly again and I said, what is this? And they looked at my face as if asking, are you crazy? But they couldn't say it, of course. And then somebody from the crowd shouted out, butterfly fish. And they all started to clap and said, yes, it's a butterfly fish. And I could not help laughing. And the lady at the back was in peals of laughter. And of course, later on, then through the lesson, I had to erase the put a chair there instead. And I was dreading really that they would say chair fish, anything to save their teacher. So this entire experience remains very special to me even to this day, because it just brought so much warmth inside the classroom in a very stressful moment. And I realized at that very moment that, normally you would associate the well-being, the safety, the self-esteem, the respect, that is the teacher's responsibility towards the children. But I think in this case, the role was completely opposite. The children were safeguarding my safety, my respect, my well-being, and they were horrified that the teacher would make such a huge blunder through an inspection by putting a butterfly in the sea. Now that was their gesture of love to turn, the wings into fins. But the reality is that, if you've built that circle of trust inside your classroom, if that is what rules the discipline and the interaction inside the classroom, then the children will never let you down.